The site chosen by the Hills Shire Council for its public art was Castle Grand, which is on the corner of Castle and Pennant Streets in Castle Hill. The building houses Castle Hill Library, the Castle Hill Community Centre with its function rooms, and the Castle Hill Early Childhood Health Centre. The site is a meeting place, a place where the community can come together to chat, explore, communicate, learn, just be part of a cultural hub. The activities in the Castle Hill Library allow people to find information, learn more, participate in various programs and activities, and learn a sense of community and identity. The Castle Hill Water Wall was officially launched on the 21st of September 2009. It includes images and words reflecting the history of the idea of community in the Hills Shire. There's a parish map of Castle Hill showing neighbouring original landholders and photos of cultural activities, local churches where the community met regularly, and early transport enabling communication such as the horse and cart, early motor car and steam tram, which was achieved by the community in the early 20th century through successful long-term lobbying. The water wall also includes some Aboriginal Darug words approved by Darug man Richard Green that represent the concept of community and include a word for let's talk and also let's all walk together. Council accepted the tender of Milne and Stonehouse to undertake the public art at Castle Grand.
There are many types of public art. There's even computer digital art. There's outdoor sculptural art that only appears for a couple of weeks. So it encompasses a kind of broad spectrum of art performance activity. For the Hills Shire, this public artwork engages with the public 24/7 really. At night time, when the lights shine through the glass and the water, and you'll get a different effect to the daytime where the ripples of the water will be magnified by sunlight. The way Susan and I have approached public art as artists and arrived at this point in our practice is quite different. I became an artist a little bit later, or in my 20s, and have kind of always juggled it, like most artists, with trying to make some money and be creative.
I feel quite fortunate because I sort of always knew that I wanted to be an artist, and so it was a natural progression to move from a gallery artist through to an installation artist to public art. At the moment, we still do the whole three of those, but the public art is our main driver, and we mostly work on public art within public spaces. I think one of the more exciting aspects of working in the public domain is the collaborative process. Greg and I enjoy working on projects together and also collaborating with other professionals like yourself and hearing the stories and all the historical references, but also working with engineers and lighting designers and architects and planners.
We were invited to submit an expression of interest with a number of other artists, and we were successful in going to that next stage. And then at that point, Stuart, who was the cultural officer, suggested quite strongly to us to make this work really local, to embed it within the character of the Hills Shire. That was an interesting challenge to be put to us with this, and therefore it was obvious that we had to go and talk to you about what was part of that, the cultural psyche of the hills. We're in a library, and all around the world libraries are in a state of flux because where they were the holders of knowledge and the archive of knowledge, now they're the portal, they're social activity, there's a coffee shop, there's a lot more interest in CDs, and information has an E in front of it, knowledge has an E in front of it, and so they're interesting places. And so we thought, the illuminated manuscript becomes this strange doorway in to it. And then we got our friend who writes computer code, to do an algorithm for reading. It was a paradox, or it was ironic, because reading is such an imaginative discovery. The sense of character that we explored with Nolene was about the physical space along the ridge lines and that sense of being above the plains. It was interesting to talk about the character of the people, the strong sense of Christian idealism, compassion, and that was explored, as Nolene pointed out, in a number of homes and places where the less fortunate were given that kind of education and help and nourishment.
I think the other thing that's really important, it's fantastic to have all the historical and all the referencing to the community, but it's also really important to bring it into a contemporary art piece and to make it relevant right now and hopefully grow with that sense of being a contemporary piece. So it's about having the many layers, including the new and the future in it as well. And I think one of the ways with this work, and particularly probably more the illuminated wall art piece that's going to go in, is the use of the technologies used to develop the artwork, and also the use of lighting and water as sort of almost like the active part of the artwork, and it changing it from a day to night piece.
These processes for glass were slumping the glass so that the letters would form as the glass became slightly liquid. It forms around some of the letters. We sandblasted, so some of the old maps of the area are sandblasted pieces. There's a rust inlay to add another layer, so there's almost 3 layers. It's toughened and put together and inserted behind the water. So the work is really quite interesting in that process. And hence what happens to the imagery from the design sense, where it's all very apparent and visible, and you can search and find some of the house, the architectural remnants and the text, and when it's all done and it's formed into the glass and the material takes over, then the work becomes a lot more of a discovery, and people can see little bits of it, and then the website and the library comes much more important, because then the people use the artwork as a portal to an understanding of local history and local culture and identity.